Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Elevated Feminine podcast. This is Jen, your co-host, and I'm here with the lovely, beautiful Nicole. Say hello to our wonderful listeners. And we are super excited because guess what, everyone? It's been 1 year since we started our podcast. Let's pause and just give ourselves a round of applause.
I love it. Go us.
I've got goosebumps thinking about this. This is so incredibly exciting. Nicole, how do you feel? We did it. 12 months. 1 year.
One whole year of committing to something. I'm loving it and feeling like, I don't know, there's this sense of pride, but also this anticipation for feel like we have a groove and momentum going. I love that feeling of being satisfied and excited about where you are right now and anticipating what's coming.
Yeah, I'm super proud. I'm super proud. I mean, folks, if you listen to our first podcast, you would know that Nicole and I met a year ago, more or less, really and truly. And quite on a whim. So we're pretty much going to take you back through our connection, and you're going to journey with us to where we are right now, our 1 year anniversary. I can't believe it. I'm like a 1 year anniversary doing a podcast. I need that to sit for a moment. Are y'all excited for us? I'm excited for us.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, we met so randomly, and knew that we wanted to work together. Just did not know how we would bridge or marry our respective skills. And funny enough, we found a skill that we didn't even know we had, the gift of communication.
Talking. Yes.
Exactly. It doesn't have anything to do with what we do for a living, although we do speak a lot for a living, but we were able to harness that skill and come together and create this podcast. And when Nicole gave me offered up the idea, I was like, oh, okay, let's go for it and see what happens. And here we are 1 year later.
1 year later, with just figuring it out as we go along. I just want to point that out too. If anybody who's listening, if you're out there and you want to do something and your excuse for not doing it is you don't know where to start or don't know how to do it, not an excuse. Get up off your butt and just start figuring it out. Because if Jen and I can figure it out too, I know maybe it sounds simple to start a podcast, but actually it's a little bit more complicated than you think. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes with editing and music and sound bites and visuals and timing of everything, and like getting people to come on our podcast as guests, and some people you're really wrangling to, and all of the things. Like it sounds simple. You just turn on a computer, record, and start talking. That's kind of what we thought, and then we got here and we're like, oh, all right, there's a little bit more to it. So if you're sitting on your butt because you want to do something and you're not doing it because of the excuse that you don't know how to do it, get up, go figure it out. There's so many resources these days to try to figure it out. And you're your own resource.
Exactly. I mean, even if you don't know, someone in your network might know. There's Google, there's Pinterest. There's so many ways. And you're right, Nicole. I mean, I remember thinking, oh, this is so simple. Let's do a test run. And they were like, oh, wait a minute. You're absolutely right. And I just want to point out, we were doing all of this in the midst of holding space for our own individual businesses and our personal lives and what may have been coming up in our personal lives, so
which was a lot. Both of us.
We're moving.
Oh gosh, this whole year, I totally forgot, because this whole year has been about just like reclaiming my individual, myself, my feminine, and sort of like finding my power, ending a relationship, moving to a new country, being a single pet parent for the first time with a dog and a cat. I mean, all of those things in theory, if you would have told me that I would have felt overwhelmed, borderline depression, not really feeling like I'm in my own skin, I would be like, no, those are easy things. I can do that. And I can do it. But, it wasn't as easy as I would have said it was.
So big shout out and kudos to Nicole for still showing up every time we had a recording. every single time in the midst of all of what she was doing. I mean, it's incredible. And it just goes to show that if you remember your why, you know, and we're going to get to that, why we are doing this, it makes it a little bit easier to find the space and the time to do it. And that's where that word commitment comes from. We were talking about, what are we going to talk about for our 1 year anniversary episode? And we thought commitment, because it really took commitment. There were many days when I was really like warmed over roadkill. I mean, Sahara dust that has been affecting Barbados. It had me in a tailspin. I had headaches and sinus drips. Many times we were supposed to record. And some days I was like, Nicole, I'm just gonna have to suck it up, pull up my big girl undies and just flip and do it. And I did it. Yep. I mean, I'm really glad there was no visual.
The big girl undies part.
But I showed up and I did it, you know, grappling all of that and everything else that was going on, you know. So we're just happy to be here. Still.
Yes, you know, you went through so many different challenges within your business as well, and trying to organize your retreats and collaborating with crazy people. And
I forgot about that. The gaslighting. Oh my word.
Yeah, that was pretty big.
Yeah, I was pretty stressed. I forgot. How do we shut out? You see, that's the thing about humans. We're able to push all of that negative stuff aside and put it in a box and kick it underneath the couch or put it in the back of the closet. You forgot what you were grappling with. I completely forgot all about the retreat and how much stress that was. I nearly had a breakdown trying to plan that. Thank you for remembering, because I didn't.
Yes. Well, and the funny thing is too, is I think we really don't give ourselves credit when we go through challenges. We kind of just get in it, and that's human nature. Is we're like, okay, I'm going to move through it. And some of us succumb to the drama and the trauma, but you still end up getting through it anyways. It's just a matter of how much stress you're going to take on as you move through whatever it is you have to move through. But then on the other end, regardless of how you make through it, whether gracefully or not, it doesn't actually matter, because at the end, we should still be able to look back and say, wow, I did that. I can do hard things. I did that. And we don't do that. So I also want to, anybody who's listening, just take a minute. I know we're in March now, so like the whole New Year thing is all died down probably, but still just take a minute and look back at last year and just give yourself a hell yes kudos for what you achieved, what you lived through, what you overcame last year. Because I guarantee you, all of us have overcome something that we probably belittle and make it seem small and insignificant, but it's not.
And then to add to that, it almost is like, I think one of the reasons why we probably don't even notice it is because it's almost like we're expected to go through this.
Yes.
Like it's almost like, oh well, I'm supposed to work hard. I'm supposed to have these challenges. So it's nothing new, you know, and it seems that we're complaining or anything like that. But no, we need to remember in one of our episodes, I can't remember which one it was now. Maybe you might, when I was talking about the fact that in the Caribbean, you would always hear as a child growing up, you know, self-praise is no praise and don't pat yourself on the back. And I was like, well, fuck that, because that causes us to seek validation in other people. But we need to validate ourselves every single time we come through something that was challenging for us. It doesn't have to be a big break you down to that you've hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't have to be anything big like that to validate yourself. It could be simply, hey, showing up every month to record a podcast.
Right?
You know, or, you know, not eating bread for a week, you know, whatever it is. So if you're listening to us, and I hope you are, and I hope you've stayed with us for the entire year, celebrate your wins, however big or small, because they all add up and they all matter.
Yes. Yes. Well, and even for some of us, just getting out of bed in the morning is an achievement. I mean, I remember feeling depressed, and if I could get myself out of bed for more than just a toilet break or a small bite of something because I finally felt like I had an appetite, aside from that, if I could get myself out of bed, that was actually a really big deal, especially if I went outside.
Yeah, no, that's huge. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So
I'd like to find it.
I think it might have been the communication workshop, by the way, that you were talking about. Well, or workshop, our podcast episode workshop. We were workshopping, kind of.
It's true in a way. I hope I find this because I came across this thing on Facebook amidst all of my cat things I like to share. And
Yeah.
I'm going to try my best to describe this. And if I might even share it to our Instagram, the elevated feminine, underscores in between the elevated and feminine. In case you're not following us, make sure that you are now.
Yes.
So it has this graph. It's like, well, I'm going to show it to my colleague here because she can see that. She can see the graph. So it's in the web access. And it starts with doing your best looks different every day. And it has this little drawing. And the first one, the person's just standing with their arms crossed. The second one, they're sitting down with their legs crossed and they're holding a pillow. So they're obviously sad. And the middle one, they're standing up and they're opening up their arms, their head is thrown back and they're happy. And then there's another one where they're flat on their back in constructive rest. They just can't cope. And then there's another one where they're working. And that's just speaking to what Nicole just mentioned about you do your best, and that's going to look different every single day. And you can pat yourself on the back for that. No matter which part along this graph you're in, just give yourself I did that.
Yeah. I'm like, it comes down to commitment, right? Like just committing to yourself is actually really hard. And to commit to something and to yourself and to whatever your goal is or whatever, you're trying to work towards, wanting to work towards, trying to achieve. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of us look at, okay, so this is what success means as a final result. I need to, let's say use our podcast, for example. We need to have 100 followers, 1,000 followers, 10,000 followers. That's the only measure of success. But that is a measure. But, even just, again, us just showing up once a month, some months we did 3 recordings through the summer. And we were there. We're like, okay, this is a lot. We have a lot going on. Let's just go. Let's do it. It's going to be good. So it comes back, like you said, to commitment, because so now circling back to our whys, like for me, and I know that part of my why is incorporated into your why, Jen. And then we have like these overlapping personal expansions of a unified why. But it's just the fact of being able to create a space where people feel, in particular women, because, you're a woman of color, I'm a woman in business, you're a woman in business. Like there's all these factors that we feel discrimination from or some sort of, and just that like oppression, and even just in relationship, I was feeling that a lot in my past relationship, just feeling the oppressed, you're too sensitive, you have too many emotions. And we tend to shut ourselves down in order to navigate the world. And what we wanted to do with this podcast is do the complete opposite of that and counteract that and create this open space where people can show up and talk about what inspires them, what moves them, whether it's kooky and weird, or it's, to some people mundane and means nothing. Who cares? At the end of the day, empowering each other to just stand in our power, in our purpose, whatever that is too. Like even passion can be purpose. Yeah. That's a big why of why we started this, is because we just wanted to create that space where women feel heard.
Yeah. I definitely echo that. Being heard, being seen, and being understood. And it's not even about being accepted, because that was a word that started to pop into my head, but it's not necessarily about acceptance. It's just really about, if you're accepted, that's great. But the end goal is just to really give people, as you said, that platform to express themselves, in an unbiased, brave space where they can show up as themselves, not having to pretend to be anything other than who they are, and sharing their true, authentic voice.
Yes.
True and true.
And true.
Exactly. So that's the why here for me. And I guess it's important for me too, because I feel like I have a lot to say. And I guess I didn't need a podcast to do it, but it was helpful. It made me feel more comfortable sharing my voice. in this medium. And I feel that that might also be helpful for other women who might want to have something that they might want to share, but may not necessarily want to necessarily be openly seen to share it. They might not be ready yet to be in that spotlight in that way, you know? So this is a way that you can do that.
Yeah, for sure. And actually I've found a lot too is the other aspect, just super quick, that I found that for me at least, and I know that you're going to agree with this because I know you know, but even still, it's just the fact of, you know, feeling censored and purposefully standing in a place of non-censorship is a powerful statement that I think impacts other people. Because I'll tell you right now, I know a number of women in my circle who are like, oh, you're doing a podcast? That's cool. I'm going to listen. And all of a sudden they're like, you know, I've always wanted to do a podcast, but I just never started it because I didn't know how. So that, you know, standing in power helps create that space for other people to feel inspired and moved too. So
yeah,
I love that part too.
Yeah, it is true. It is nice to know that. I don't like to put it this way, but the only way, this is the way that's coming up, is like, it's almost like by doing that thing, it kind of gives people the permission or the go ahead or the green light or the realization that, hey, well, maybe I can do it too.
Yes, definitely.
So, but listeners, we're going to take a quick little break and we're going to be right back super soon. And Nicole and I are going to continue this conversation, celebrating ourselves and our 1-year anniversary. Woo-hoo! We'll be right back. Hi there, I'm Jen, co-host of the Elevated Feminine podcast, where real women have real conversations. If there's a topic you are passionate about and want to share your views and ideas, then we want to hear from you. Send us an email at elevatedfeminine9@gmail.com. We can hardly wait to have a conversation with you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Elevated Feminine podcast. You're listening in with your co-hosts, Nicole and Jen. Yes. And we're celebrating today, friends. We're celebrating 1 year of committing to our podcast, committing to our individual selves, committing to Jen and I as a partnership, but also committing to our why and bringing our voices forwards. Talked about that in the first segment, that the other part of our why that we want to talk about now is this bringing the voices forwards for other amazing humans and other amazing women who are standing in feminine energy, feminine power, and just serving from the depths of that. And that's just super inspiring for us.
Yeah,
so inspiring.
It's amazing guest. I mean,
right?
They completely blew my mind. They called me out.
Yes, I know. Me too.
If you all haven't listened to our podcast with Kristen Constable, you know, the whole, what was the name of her? I can't remember the name of her podcast, but it was about soul work.
That was thriving in your soul work.
Yes, I got called out big time, folks. If you haven't listened yet, you got to check in with that one. And speaking of Kristen, her podcast, she was one of our last guests, I believe. Her podcast was about, you know, just really thriving in your soul work, you know, that thing that you're passionate about and really stepping into it and just doing the most and still having that joy for it and not it feeling like grunt work. That was really cool.
Yeah.
She was really inspiring. Go ahead.
So inspiring. I love that kind of mindset too. Is just, you know, harnessing from within. Yes, that is feminine energy going within, and here it is. Like that.
Yeah. Did everyone get that? There's the feminine energy from the depths of your soul.
Yes.
Oh gosh, and we had some other inspiring guests as well. We had Jess.
Yes.
With young women, teens to young adults, and helping them find their voice and figure out who they are and what an important service.
Oh my gosh, how powerful. Could you imagine, Jen, coming across somebody like Jess when you're going through the bumps that are called female teenagehood? Yeah,
I know,
okay,
right?
man. Yeah, boys, you guys have your thing, but seriously, you have no idea what us girls go through physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually,
Yeah, no.
collectively.
Right?
Oh my
It's
God.
true. It's true. And to have someone who's been through it and recognize that in her, the deficit in her own life, and recognize the importance of having that presence and to put
Yeah.
herself out to help is phenomenal. And we were so grateful to have her on our podcast. She was one of our first guests.
I
So yeah,
know. I'm so excited to have her back too, to just kind of see, because I mean, it's been a year. So it'd be nice to
yes,
see where she's at.
exactly. It's true. We need to do that. We have to have that as a podcast where we have like a where are they now kind of like thing.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
And then we had Claire from, oh,
Yes.
just want to mention this really quickly, listeners. Our guests are like all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, Nicole and I
All
are,
over.
I mean, she's in France, I'm in Barbados, and they're coming in. And Claire came in from the UK, and Claire is out there doing the most. She is just turning British corporate upside down with her voice, just daring to push that boundary and to let these men know I am here, I have a voice, I am skilled, and she is not afraid. And I love it.
No. Isn't she the young? Didn't she say she was the youngest female in her corporate group
Yes,
too? Like,
exactly.
so
Exactly.
potentially intimidating. And she's just like, nah, I'm good.
Just showing up and showing out, just showing them all, look, I'm here.
Right.
I have an opinion. And she's doing it. And I love that. I love that about her. And
Yeah,
then move.
and then we had Juliana. Oh,
Yeah.
Juliana talking about magic just made like life feel so sparkly,
Yes,
right?
it's true. I felt like fairy dust and like just anything was possible, when
Yeah,
talking. Yeah, magic in the
yeah, like
mundane.
yeah, and it was just I loved it so much talking to her because she with human design and she's her background in counseling. I love how she's blending it all to help people again come into their power and blossom from that. And that's what she calls finding your magic and just finding, like that spark and that childlike joy of life and of self and of just who you are and where you are. I just love that so much. That's what life's about. I mean, come on.
It's true. It's true. That was a really fun one as well. And I never knew about the human design and the
Mm.
quantum almost
Quantum key.
right. I was thinking of the TV show Quantum Leap.
Almost. Yes.
Yeah, no,
Unlocking our potential. So
yeah, so
cool.
that was a great one as well. And then I think the
And then
last,
remember we had Lindsay. Remember
yes,
Lindsay too? She's helping corporate women just blast through and stand in their power and find jobs they love without having to put up with the corporate mumbo jumbo that, often I hate to say it because it does feel kind of overgeneralizing and stereotypical, but at the same time it is happening where women get overlooked or and we just don't have sometimes the support to really stand in our power because we're so used to standing back. And
yeah,
so she's really helping women thrive and integrate into I believe that's even the name of her
yeah, I
episode,
think
but
so. I think
just
right. Integrate and thrive.
yeah,
Yeah,
just like
it's
thrive
true.
and
It's
integrate
true.
into that world and the world that they want to be and find careers that they love. I think that's just so important, so valuable. And
So
the
good.
mind devils, remember you reminded me of the mind
Yes, the
devils.
Mind Devils. Yes, because
Love
as you know,
that.
when we're traversing this plane, trying to find our way in this corporate world with, we're not going to name it, but we're just going to know what we're talking about. There's
Yeah.
a lot of self-sabotage that comes up, the mind devils, that negative voice that comes in. It tells you have no right to be here. Da 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 da. This, this is the status quo. Women are here. They're not there. And I
Yeah.
love that she said that. So those mind devils, I will never forget that.
So
That
true.
off it to keep you back and to keep you down. So it's so good to know that I mean, a lot of these women, you knew that you have them in your network already. And I felt very privileged and honored to have had an opportunity to meet them and learn from them and to I felt a lot of validation in my own personal views, having had the conversations with them and what they were bringing to the table. Because, you know, for me personally, and I'm oversharing, folks, if you're not used to that, get used to it. I overshare. Um, for me personally, I'm going to sell it right now. I talk a lot to myself. I know a lot of people say that's crazy, but that's all right. If I'm crazy, write me up, get the straight jacket. I don't care. I talk to myself because I find it's challenging sometimes to find someone to talk to about these things that are running around in your head. And I would have to say it's a lot of intuition that comes up in my thoughts. And when I was in these podcasts with these amazing women, to hear them say a lot of the things that I already felt and I had already thought, it was really that affirmation or that reaffirmation that I'm pretty flippin' smart or I'm really intuitive and I'm spot on with what I was thinking and feeling. And I hope that if you have listened to all of our podcasts so far, that you had a similar experience, at the very least, that you learned something about yourself. Because something that was super important for Nicole and I was that everyone that came on our show gave some insights, some little nuggets that you could implement or pull out to help you in life. So I really do hope that those seeds that they planted or they left behind, those breadcrumbs or what we want to refer to them as, were helpful for you as well. I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
No, I love it. I love it. And how awesome, like, and that's another part of our why, because both of us really love meeting interesting people and inspiring people. And this project, if you will, is just such a beautiful way that not only do we get to uplift others and uplift their voice and help share their stories and their expertise and all of that, the amazing things that they have that they're doing, but the other thing is that we ourselves, I don't know, like, I'm just going to echo what you said and say it in my own words. I just found that so much of what they were bringing forwards into the world, not just into our podcast, but even just into the world, it's just sent these ripples through me, you know, because we're all human. And some days we're like, yeah, I got this. And we're our best cheerleaders. And then some days we're just, you know, oh my gosh, like I'm not getting this done, or I'm not here where I want to be yet. And we can kind of get down on ourselves for even just, oh, why are you upset about that? Or why are you having such a hard time learning this XYZ thing? And I just found that speaking to other passionate, empowering, inspiring women just really helped me give myself credit for, similar to you, the things that I do already know and that I intuitively found my way to, but also just give myself credit that everybody has a story. Everybody's just doing their best. And how inspiring is it that there's people out there doing these amazing things? Makes me say, well, I can do amazing things too, and helps me stay moving forwards and move through those difficult times, you know. Just something about watching and hearing and listening to someone's story and how they're persevering and committing to themselves and to their clients and to, you know, the greater good is just really intrinsically motivating, because that's what I want ultimately too, is to have that positive impact on other people. So for me, that's like, whew, yeah, look at all these powerhouses. I can be like them. Come on, you can do it, Nicole. You got this.
It is good. It is, it does make you feel good. And I'm happy to know that we were able to provide a platform that they could share their gifts, you know, and just get it out there, because the more we can get that positive feminine energy out there, the better, really and truly.
Sure.
Yeah, it's been really great. I'm feeling all sentimental and reflective of the different conversations we had and how they really spoke to me. And I felt like if I was on a psychiatrist's couch being counseled, you know, and no, it was great. And the thing is that, just remember, listeners, I did not know these women, but I felt like they really truly saw me. And I would hope that you had a similar experience too when you listened. But no, we've been extremely fortunate, and we're looking forward to the next year with some more amazing, incredible, inspiring, empowering women. I mean, if you have a story you want to share, and it doesn't have to be entrepreneurial, it can be anything, really and truly, something that you're passionate about. It could be a personal experience that you've had, that you found something that, remember Nicole talked about, just getting out of bed. If there was something that you felt that you just could not get out of bed for days, weeks, however long, and you were able to figure out a way to help get yourself up out of bed and keep showing up, that is something to share, because there are a lot of other people out there who are dealing with the same thing and just don't know how.
Well, and I mean, case in point, I'm just going to name drop here, Mel Robbins. She dragged herself out of bed in 5 seconds and ended up writing a book and teaching other people how to do it. That seems so, like, if you think about that as a concept, it's so simple and seems like such a silly thing, but she has helped me personally and so many thousands of other people pull themselves up out of depression or procrastination or negative thought processes. And it's just, your count like a rocket, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up you go, right? So, I mean, folks, if you have something that has worked for you, that has felt empowering, inspiring, motivating, that's important. No matter how small it is, it's important. And you can't discount how valuable what you have to offer is to other people. Because again, Mel Robbins, who would have thought 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that's her process. That is it. That's literally all she teaches. She elaborates on it in her podcast and when she speaks and in the work she does in her book and stuff. But literally, that's the foundation of where she started. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get out of bed.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So
if that's enough, she's like world renowned. If she can do it, you can do it with whatever your seemingly silly process is. I guarantee you're going to help somebody.
Yeah, and share it. Our stories, we should share our stories, because we never know who we're impacting, and we never know who we're giving open air quote permission, close air quote to step up, and use their voice. So we would love to have you on our podcast so you can share your story and inspire others the way, someone may have inspired you. Who knows?
And selfishly inspire me too. Come on.
Definitely here for this permission. Yes. I don't call it selfish. I call it selfful. So yes, go ahead. Yes. And go ahead and inspire us as well. Oh my goodness.
As entrepreneurial women, I find that sometimes I just kind of get wrapped up in the masculine energy of the doing, which is great. I love doing. I'm definitely a doer. I love taking action, but I'm really loving this idea that we're creating through our podcast of the receiving side and the pause and having these amazing women come on and tell their stories, whether or not they're entrepreneurs is actually irrelevant. We were talking about that behind the scenes too. It just so happens that the guests that we've had so far have been entrepreneurs, but all, I guess, except for Claire. But even still, everything that Claire shared, I'm like, oh yeah, she's not intimidated by, that tough, strong, aggressive type. Not that people are aggressing her, but it's just that assertion maybe is a better word. Sometimes even I, as an entrepreneur and pretty self-assured, feel a little bit intimidated by assertive masculine energy, right? So I just find, that finding that balance is key.
Yeah. Yep. It's true. So folks,
so many good memories already, so many more to come. It's going to be so good. We have a great lineup for 2024. It's going to be good.
Yes. So looking forward to it.
With that, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to wrap up our 1-year anniversary celebrations, and you'll want to stay tuned for that. So see you in a minute.
Hi there, I'm Jen, co-host of the Elevated Feminine podcast, where real women have real conversations. If there's a topic you're passionate about and want to share your views and ideas, then we want to hear from you. Send us an email at elevatedfeminine9@gmail.com. We can hardly wait to have a conversation with you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. You're listening to the Elevated Feminine podcast with your hosts, Nicole and Jen. Jen's there. We are just wrapping up our 1-year podcast anniversary celebrations. And we've been talking a lot about what's inspired Jen and I to do this, our why, and sort of reflecting on the amazing, inspiring people that we've had approach us, but also the women that we've actually had on our podcast, which has been amazing. And we just wanted to wrap up our celebrations by sharing a little gift with you. Little gift of inspiration, a little gift of Jen and I are cheering you on celebration. We don't need to know you. We don't need to know your story. We're here. And we had, Jen, I loved. I'm just going to let you say it because you say it way better. I talk about it all the time too, but you said it way better, way more eloquently than I would. Ugh. Friends, if you're dreaming of something, Jen's got a really, really good nugget for you.
Oh gosh. Okay. I didn't think I could be put on the spot on a podcast, but here we go. Calling me out once again. That's okay. I don't mind. So basically, friends, what I'm going to say to you is if you have a dream, if you have something deep in your heart that you want to do, hold it close to your heart and don't share it with anyone. And this is to add in a little bit of what Nicole said. Don't share it with anyone until you are deeply rooted in that heart desire. And nurture it. Don't give up on it. And if it is at all possible to surround yourself with a small network of people that you know for sure have your back and will support you and lift you up while you go through this, do that. Set your boundaries and commit to show up for yourself and your heart and your purpose every single day, even on the days you don't feel like. And remember that no matter how you show up, as long as you do, that's what matters. So good. So good. I mean, how true is it that when you're not really firm in your belief in yourself yet, and you start talking about something, so easy to get talked off that ledge, and then you just don't do it, right? And then you just sit there and you regret, or you think about it for years and years and years about, oh, I wish I could do that. I used to be a flight attendant. I can't tell you how many people told me, you're so lucky. I always wanted to do that. I said, it's not luck, it's choice. You had your time. You could have chosen. You probably could still do it now, except maybe you can't. I don't know. But at the end of the day, the only person that holds you back is you. Exactly.
And if you're not firmly rooted in your belief in yourself, and you're driven by your why, your inner deeper why and calling, your soul work, as Kristen puts it, and it doesn't have to be entrepreneurial. Your soul work could be being a mother, could be being a partner, it could be being a teacher. It doesn't actually matter what that soul work is for you. But if you are not believing in yourself enough, don't share it with other people, especially the peanut gallery.
Yeah.
Because they mean well. They're not trying to hurt you. They mean well, but other people can't see your dream the way you see it.
Exactly. Because it's your dream. Yeah. So keep it close to your chest and nurture it, nurture yourself. Do what you need to do to get more centered and committed. And I almost think cemented in it, like start to live it, breathe it, feel it, and then do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes. And if you need cheerleaders, find us on Instagram, _elevated_feminine, and tell us what it is and just say cheerleader. We will cheer you on. We are 1000% behind you, and whatever seemingly crazy, kooky, weird, woo-woo, mundane, we don't care. We don't care. Whatever your dream is, you share it with us. If you have nobody around you to cheer you on, you come find us. We'll cheer you on.
We've got you.
And if you never reach out to us silently, we're still cheering you on. Energetically, we're still cheering you on.
And so, friends, I'm just going to say thank you so much on behalf of Nicole and myself. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate each and every one of you that took the time to click on that link and listen to our podcast.
Yes.
And Yes, we appreciate you. We love you all. And we look forward to another year, 2024, of real women having real conversations. This has been the Elevated Feminine Podcast, and we are out of here.